Hey, glad you're here today. Welcome. This is Raven Blair Glover, Raven, a talk show Maven, and I'm always thrilled when you show up. Thank you so much. But I got to tell you, today you picked a perfect day because, oh my goodness, it's time for a very, very special guest that we want to introduce you to. And I thought she would be a perfect person to help you master the art of being the talent. And she's going to share with you some of her insider secrets on how you can really step out there and shine. She'll share a little bit about how she got started and how she, really elevates her talent and makes it pop. And she has an acronym she's going to tell you about, and it's under the word CAR, C-A-R. And she's going to show you how to drive that car all the way to success. Who is this person I'm talking about? Well, you ready? Okay, here it is. Her name is Kim Cole. She's an American actress, game show host, comedian, writer, known for her part in Living Single. That's one that you hear everybody loves her in that. I mean, that's where I fell in love with her, but there's so much more that she's gone into, and she'll let you know what's hot and what she's going to be doing these days. And you know what? She is an author as well as she is a coach. She helps business entrepreneurs, be the talent, not just if they're a radio host or if they're a talk show host, whether they're doing live streams and stuff, but she's going to show you how to captivate the audience in whatever life or business that you're doing. You can shine. You can broadcast your brilliance and captivate your audience. So if you're standing, sit down, and if you sit and stand up, because the lady is here, Kim Cole, yeah.
Raven, the talk show Maven. I am so delighted to be with you. Thank you for inviting me to come and play with you just a little bit. I always enjoy my time with you. Always.
I know, and we've been wanting to do this for such a long time, for
yes,
years.
Ma'am.
And we finally was able to get our timing together. You have been crazy busy. Every time I'm on LinkedIn, you got something else that you're announcing. And first of all, congratulations for that, because a lot of people, they may have started the acting career and then they slowed down and then they faded out. And that's why I knew you were going to be perfect for our guest today, because you really have mastered the art of being the talent. So before we get started on diving deep in our topic today, why don't you share with us what inspired you to become an actress?
It's interesting. I thank you for that question. I grew up watching the great comedians on television in the late 60s and 70s. I tell the truth, I'm 60 years old. So I grew up watching Flip Wilson and Cal Burnett and even Mr. Cosby. I know things have turned a different way, but there was a time when he was just an amazing and still an amazing talent. Just, he's flawed as a man but great as talent, and Lucille Ball and Ruth Buzzy and all these amazing and especially funny women, and just really being influenced by the characters they would play and the funny that they would make, and not even really knowing how that this was going to happen for me. No one in my family's in show business. In fact, my parents didn't want me to do this at all. They ended up happy in the end because I do it with passion. I fell in love with it and decided to really make it my own, which is one of the things we'll talk about in a minute. But I wanted to just be funny. And I was modeling. I was a plus size model way back in the day. And I entered into a beauty pageant for plus size women. And they called at the last minute and said, we decided to add a talent to the beauty pageant, just like a good old fashioned beauty pageant. You got to come up with a talent. I was like, I don't really have any talent. I don't sing. I don't dance. I don't play the piano. I didn't have any of the traditional talents. And so because I'd been kind of funny in high school, and that's how I learned how to connect and make people laugh, or as you say, win friends and influence people, I decided to make up a comedy routine about how stupid I think beauty pageants are. And knowing even in my 19, 20-year-old self that likely the audience was going to be an audience full of fluffy girls. And if I made fun of the skinny girls in the pageant, maybe I would do all right. And I ended up twirling a baton because that's what those girls always do. The audience didn't know that I knew how to do it, and I twirled my baton to the tune of Thriller and ended up winning first runner up. And that was when the timing was perfect because comedy was really beginning to explode, especially for Black comics. There was a certain Eddie Murphy that was on the scene, and by that time, everyone was looking for their next young Black talent. And so it was perfect timing for me. And so I became a stand-up comedian first. And then
Oh,
that
okay.
led to me becoming an actress because a show called In Living Color came along. And Keenan was looking for comedians who could be actors, who could do characters. And so there it is. Just yeah, I fell into it and it fell into me. Yeah. So
Well, do you feel like comedian was more natural for you or acting, or were they both about
oh,
equal?
that's a good question. I think, to be honest with you, I had to learn both. And what I mean by that is, so I absorbed all the comedy that was happening in the late 60s, early 70s. I absorbed Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry and, and Lucille Ball. I
Mm-hmm.
absorbed it. And in high school, because I was chubby and because I didn't want to get teased for being chubby, I thought, let me make them laugh with me instead of at me. So I would make funny jokes and tell stories and become funny characters and hike my gym shorts up. And what happened was I realized that making people laugh drew them to me. It connected me to them. So I never got teased for being the fat girl. In fact, I was very popular. I dated, two boys on the football team, not at the same time, but I dated like the A-list boyfriend. I was in student government. I was on the cheering squad. I did all the things that you would think that the fat girl doesn't get to do. And it was because in my mind, I connected comedy. So I learned how to be funny to thwart people from teasing me, and didn't know at the time, Raven, that I was learning a skill that would then serve me for forevermore. So I must have had something naturally, but I learned how to do it in order to communicate in a way
Yeah.
that no one else was doing. I went to a high school where you had to take a test to get in, like you had to be really smart to get in. And I was like, I don't know how I ended up here. So let me just make all the brainiacs laugh. And I did. And so I stood out because of that. And I was captivating. And we'll talk about that just a moment. I found my way to captivate people. And that got me through. And again, not knowing that I was developing a skill that I would then use later on. And so stand-up comedy led to acting. And I don't do as much stand-up now, but I use humor in every aspect of my life and every aspect of my business.
Yeah.
I'm a speaker. When I speak, I use humor. I call it using humor and heart. And so one of the things we'll talk about is how to use all of it, use all that you have to to win, all that you have to stand out, use all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's given to you for a reason, use it. And I understand that now. I couldn't have understood that when I was 20, but I get it now.
Yeah. And here's the thing, whatever you use for business, you can use in life and vice versa, right? Because there's times
Absolutely.
where it has nothing to do with business, but we may go somewhere and we want to stand out for a person for a particular reason. And a lot of times we think it's just hair, makeup, and clothes. How, as important as that is, there's so much more.
Mhm.
I just really feel like that because we're all meant for more. And a lot of times we don't know because we have our guard up.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity, the door of opportunity shut or cracked, and we're busy looking through it. But sometimes you just have to go through that bad boy, right? And give your best and be okay failing forward. How you feel about that?
I feel 100% about that. The acronym that you talked about a minute ago, the CAR, drive your
Mhm.
car all the way to success. That's what I mean by it is an acronym, CAR. The first piece of that is to captivate. And you captivate by just being you. You captivate by walking in the room and bringing all of your experiences with you, whether you're an entrepreneur or a wantrepreneur, or, how many times have you realized that you had some skill and you apply that skill in a
Uh-huh.
whole different area? In fact, I actually think that confidence is transferable. I think that if you have confidence doing something and you borrow from that confidence, like I am an awesome cook. By the way, I am not. Let's say the
It sounds good, huh?
I am not. But I borrow my confidence on stage when I go in the kitchen and go, well, if I can do that, then I can do this too. And it really is up to us to bring our whole selves. And what I think, Raven, so many of us as talent, we're busy comparing ourselves to other talent. But there's
Mm.
only one you, there is greatness in you, and the desire to do what you do was placed in you by the divine. Whatever you want, whatever you believe, however you language it,
Yeah.
it was placed in you so that you could shine, or as I like to say, broadcast your brilliance.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
And that's why I'm not, when I go on auditions, Raven,
Hmm.
I actually say hello to everyone. Like, you go on auditions sometimes, that other women, I ain't gonna look at you. You're my competition. I don't see them as my competition, because I'm gonna go in the room and bring me, and they
There you
hire
go.
me or they hire someone else. So I'll actually say, may the best woman win. And they all look at me like, well, why are you doing that? Or I'll see everybody at the table read, knowing full well that only one of us is gonna be there. But I
Yeah.
wish you well, sis, sister, 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 all my sisters, all my brothers. I wish you all well, because the gift was placed in you. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's really plenty out there for all of us.
Mhm.
It's just that some people will think about it, some people will dream about it, and some people will do it.
That's
They will
right.
you know,
Do
just
it.
get into action mode. And I think that's what makes the difference. Like I said earlier, I believe the doors of opportunity are all around all of us, but some of us choose to just take a peek and we want to see everything before we go in it. And like you said, we start worrying about, other people and what they're doing and how they sound. I was like that. I'm keeping honest. At first, I've been wanting to be on radio since I was 13 years old, Kim. I used to
Wow.
sneak to the neighborhood radio station in Cleveland, Ohio, WJMO. And that was what made me light up. And a lot of people don't know this, but I always felt dismissed and more like Casper, just a person that always wanted to get in, have friends, be popular. And everybody just kind of like dismissed me. And it took me until 55 years old, when mother was in the hospital bed, and while I was there in the ICU unit with her for those weeks, I heard a guy say the quickest way to become an expert is to interview experts. His name was Alex Mendoza, and it was on a teleseminar card. And that's when that 13-year-old dream found me at the hospital. I got lit up and I started telling myself, I'm going to start a show. I'm not going to worry about my voice. I'm going to start a show. It's going to help me make money so
Mm.
that I can help my mom when she gets out the hospital. And here we are in our 16th year of broadcasting. So it was just failing forward and being okay with that and
Right.
making the decision to go out there and, like you say, get out there and captivate and, use your acronym when we're going to go into
Right.
deeply, activate and radiate, because you got to show up and you got to show up big and
Right.
not be afraid of that, right?
I think, what I think, Raven. I think a lot of people pray and wish and dream, and
Mm-hmm.
that's good. That's the beginning of it, right? To
Mm-hmm.
desire something, to want it, to wish it. But it requires activation. It requires taking the first step. I don't want to mess up the quote. What wasn't it Martin Luther King Jr. who said, take the first step and the rest of the staircase will appear, or something to that. You just have to take the
Mm-hmm.
first step.
Yeah.
And we think that the doors of opportunity are going to fling open. They go, you, hey kid, come on in here. This, and sometimes that happens. There
Yeah.
have been jobs I've gotten that people say, we just want you, Kim Coles. You don't even have to audition. Yay. But there have been opportunities that I walked in or tiptoed in or knocked on the door and said, may I just sit on the side? Like, sure. I mean, metaphorically. And then another opportunity presented itself while I was there. And that happens all the time if you're open to it and you're willing to, the second letter of my acronym, activate on your dreams. You have to take the steps. You have to study. I bet you in all those years, and you tell me, yeah, you were 13, you had this dream, and
Hmm.
there you are by your mom's side, and there you were, but you had gone to visit the station. You heard how the DJs talked and how the radio, you saw what the radio setup was like. So you weren't foreign to it. You'd been studying it all your life.
Yeah.
And so I bet when you were ready to interview, you had it was in your bones already.
It was, girl. It was. I mean, I was ready. I was ready, waiting for my moment for sure. And the first celebrity I interviewed was Jane Kennedy. Remember Jane Kennedy?
Of course, of
Yeah, yeah. And
course.
I did the vision board thing, and I put everybody that I wanted to interview on a vision board, and I just mastered the art of asking, but asking in a different way than most people. I knew that I wanted to, pretty much the acronyms of your car. I knew when I did those reach out calls, I needed to really connect with them. I needed to shine, and like I never shined before because you only had a few seconds. And like you said, all that was learned along the way in between that time, how to be a good listener, because as you know, being a talk show host, you have to be a good listener, how to have that confidence and push yourself past the fear and the pain that you have of, just wanting to do it, feeling uncomfortable, because I felt like Casper, to really stepping into your powers. And that's pretty much what you have to do to be the talent, right? You got to step into that power.
Step into it. It's, the spark has been placed in you, and
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you to step up to the plate. And really, I think it's a old proverb, you take a step and the next, may the road will rise up to meet you, the staircase will be revealed, as Martin Luther King Jr. says. The opportunities and the people will be placed in your path, and it's phenomenal. The other day I was on a live stream, and there's a guy that I follow, Chester Gregory. If you all are on Instagram, follow him. He's amazing. He's funny, and he's talent, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I happen to have a mug that has words on it, affirmation, words of affirmation, good vibration with gratitude and attitude and all this. And after we were done, he DM'd me and said, I really liked that mug. And it really struck him. Now, here's somebody who I follow and I love his work. And he saw this in me. And I was there talking about manifestation. But this thing that I had, he was like, where'd you get that from? What are you doing? Like there was an opportunity to connect in that room. You never know who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
So show up and be excellent and amazing all the time. And I bet you, I bet you when you interviewed Jane Kennedy, you are one of a kind, Raven. There's not a lot of women like you doing, there's not a lot of women, period, not a lot of women like you doing it. I'm sure she was happy to look in your, because I think she's from Ohio too,
Yeah,
right?
she is. And that's exactly what I used when did my email,
I bet you
that
did.
commonality. Yes, yes,
She
yes.
was happy to talk to one of her own. And
Mm-hmm.
in that world where people just want a piece of you and it's all out there, and they're on some sort of pedestal, the celebrities
Mm-hmm.
and the people that you want to interview. And I had a feeling, I didn't even know, but I knew that you had connected with her in a way that she would go, absolutely, I'll do an interview with you. And that's the way that you captivate. You show up 100% as yourself. And so there's no more time for shrinking. Anybody who's listening to this, if
I
you have
love
the
that.
spark of the desire, you cannot shrink, you cannot remain invisible, because there's something that the world is waiting for you to say, do, experience, so that they can see it in themselves. And that's the other piece too. And I have a feeling that this too, that, look, you said that you were going to step out on this path and do this dream so that you could earn the money to care for your mom. And who knows how many people you influenced? Who knows, when you were on a red carpet or somebody heard your voice, that they said, oh, wait a minute, this is possible for me too?
Yeah,
Cause a
yeah.
ripple effect. And to know that is a responsibility, a beautiful responsibility. And it means you got to get out there and do it.
You got to do it all the way, and you're so right. And I want to dive into what the importance of Captivate and
Yeah,
hear about your acronym. But let me just wrap this part of the segment up. Um, when I, started doing this, I had no idea that it was going to end up going from me starting that first podcast to having, an internet radio station and having several different TV channels and teaching hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world how to stop feeling like Casper and step out of the shadows into the spotlight. And you were saying earlier when you were sharing your story, it's so funny how those little pieces of the foundation is laid out there, right?
absolutely.
From the time we first have that desire, and we don't realize that we're having little pieces put together of the puzzle of our journey of what we're meant to do along the way. We're just picking it up, and then finally you find yourself in that situation to where it's all coming together, and it's pretty exciting when that happens, huh?
It is so exciting. So exciting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Captivate. Okay. So why don't you just kind of speak to the audience about the real meaning of Captivate and why it's so important?
Well, I created this acronym, which I'm known to do. I have
Mm-hmm.
Captivate. I have, car, how to drive your car all the way to success. I have gifts. I love taking these words and then making them mean something else. And
Uh-huh.
so I talk about driving your car. And what I mean by that is captivate, activate, and radiate. And
Okay.
so being captivating is just like what we were talking about. It's how to influence and dominate by using your own special charm, by being irresistible. And I like to think it's about the more willing we are to be authentic and be fully expressed as we are, the more captivating we are to others. And you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your audience and the audience that hasn't even found you yet to just be the best version of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to not pay attention to the competition, but just to just get in your lane and rock that lane. And you think about people who have been successful in any realm, radio or otherwise. There
Yeah.
are people who stepped in fully and said, "This is me." Now that there are going to be some people who may not fancy you, but that's okay. There'll be more people who, at least people will make a decision about you. So show up fully as yourself. Don't put one foot in and one foot out. Don't do the hokey pokey on your own time. You got
Stick
to
the one
jump in
foot
all the way.
in.
Right? You got to be really clear about what it is you offer and
Yeah.
what you offer the world, and just captivate by doing that. Just every time you show up as that and show up fully. And again, you never know who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of an example. So the DJ Nice, who did this whole club quarantine thing during the whole pandemic, he just said, I'm gonna get on Instagram. I'm gonna be on the ones and twos. Isn't it DJ Nice? Yeah, DJ Nice. This guy he called it club quarantine, and he just started playing music. And then several hundred people would show up, and then several thousand people, and then next thing you know, I think Instagram had to open up new doors just for him to be able to stream live.
Yeah.
And now he's doing shows in Vegas and
Oh
shows
my
around the
goodness.
world because he just showed up. He says, I need to do something. I'm in my house. I'm going crazy. I'm just going to get on the ones and twos and mix up some records. And you would see the celebrities pop in and pop up, and he'd switch on a new hat. And he was spreading joy and being captivating as himself, using his own gifts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I just think that we can borrow from anyone who's ever showed up as
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And so you can do that too. And it's powerful. And it will,
Yeah. I
the other
love
piece of
it.
it, like I said, people will find strength in you doing that. And then they'll know that they can do it too.
And yeah, and they'll be inspired to take action, especially when you're being the authentic you and it's just looking so easy breezy, then that helps them get out of their head and into their heart and just go for it, huh?
That's it. That's it. Be fully expressed.
Yeah.
The A is to activate. And we've been talking about that already. It's
Mm-hmm.
about learning what you need to learn, activate, really step into being in the rooms that you need to be in, study the best. really study the field, know your stuff so that when the opportunity comes for you, you know what kind of microphone to use, you know where to put the so and so, you know where to sit, stand, be. It's just, you look like you belong there. So you
Mm-hmm.
activate yourself by even acting as if, the what is that
Yeah.
phrase? Assume the virtue though you have it not. If this is what you want to do, protect your voice. You can't be out there screaming and carrying on. You got to protect your voice. You have to know what kind of rest that you need. You have to
Mm.
know what it takes to be the talent. Really stay active in, like I said, learning, being in groups, being in like spaces with like-minded people so they can nurture you as well. Practice. And you said it before, you sometimes you fall down, you get back up. You have to be willing to play and try. So you just have
Mm-hmm.
to get active. You can't sit at home wishing and hoping that it's going to happen. You have to activate. You also mentioned something really powerful. You had a vision board for what you wanted.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a
I keep my
believer.
vision boards going for sure. Mm-hmm.
I love them too, and I love doing it with the. A lot of people think that it's just a bunch of pretty pictures on a board. It's really not. It's really about stepping into the feeling tone of what that thing is going to get you. You knew by putting Jane Kennedy on your board how you were going to feel the day the two of you was side by side or in separate studios, microphone to microphone. You were ready to ask her the questions. You were feeling it. You had known it.
Yeah.
You had seen it. And that's what it takes to activate your dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on free conference call. That's what I was on. And it's so funny because I've done so many interviews. This was before streaming and all that, right? And this was pretty much in podcast early years in 2006. And so my Women Power show has been up since that long. We've changed it to Amazing Women and Men of Power. But it was, just like you said, acting as if. And I think when you do the vision board, it helps you to start acting as if. You want to see something funny, I'm going to really tell you this. I actually used to cut out Jane's picture and all the people I wanted to interview, Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols, and had them like taped at the top of my computer at the edge. So when I sat in my computer, which my phone was in my computer, the old desk phones was in front of my computer, I would be looking at them when I would be talking. And no matter who I would interview, I would just pick one of them and say, okay, I'm going to pretend like I'm interviewing this person today.
That's magnificent. I'd not heard of that. I have post-it notes I put at places, but I love to have the visual right there. Like I am in this field. These are my people.
Mm-hmm.
These are my people, and they know who I am. In the case like that, they know who you are because you're interviewing them. I love that. So that's being
And
active.
I've had you on, I don't know how many vision boards. We started talking, what, years ago?
But and I've told you this before, if you don't mind me telling your
Yeah,
audience,
go ahead.
I remember seeing you at a conference or seeing you in the videos, like the
Mm-hmm.
the marketing of these videos. Can we talk about where and who?
Yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Lisa Sasevich, who is the sales queen, the queen of sales, who teaches you how
Uh-huh.
to market yourself and market your business. And so I knew, and when I saw you with your little red hat, I said, "Who's that lady right there, being all sassy?" Because there's not a lot of us women of
Mm-hmm.
color in those spaces, and there's more now. But this is
Yeah.
several years ago, and usually when you go to those conferences, there'll be two or three women of color, and so I always connect in that way. And I was like, who's she? And I don't remember if I was live in the room with you or not. I don't remember that, but I remember
I was
sitting.
on quite a few of her videos because I brought every product and went to every event and it's talking about, captivating and all that you talked about. I would always make sure when she opened up the mic that I could come to the mic or raise my hand and say something, but not just say anything and not just talk and talk and talk, but always be that person that she would want to call on, be excited and all that stuff.
So therefore you were captivating. I know exactly why you ended up on that stage in your cute little red hat. And I was like, who's that sassy lady? I need to know who that is. Again, it's an example of here I am on your vision board, and I vision you doing the thing that I had entered into the room to now learn marketing and learn sales. You were already in the space that I was coming into. And so it was easy to connect with you because you were someone I felt I could connect to. There you were doing it. There you were shining as you do. And again, it was an example for even me and anyone else in the room. And so it really just takes just being in it, and you just never know. Just be fully in it. And again, you didn't wear some other, you went there branded as you.
Mm-hmm.
You, like I said, you had your little red hat with your little band
Yep.
around,
Yep.
you had a little red something something. I said, oh look, who is, she is sassy and I like her. She's not, you didn't go in there looking corporate met corporate-y, because that's not your vibe. You
Right.
went in as you, and it made me and other people go, oh, you made Lisa go, Raven, come on up to the stage. Yeah, it will happen for anyone who's listening to our voice right now. All you have to do is show up as you and activate on your dream. And
Yeah.
the last, what did you
The
want to say?
last one was going to be radiant,
Radiant.
but I was going to ask you before you go there. You talked about captivate and activate, and let's say we have people that are tuning in and they're saying, "But I do captivate and I do activate. Is there a such thing as we can do it more than what we're
Yes.
doing? Do we think is it possible we think we're doing it, but we're still holding back in some
I
way?"
I think you know when you're holding back.
Mm-hmm.
You know if you're really being honest with yourself. And listen, I've done it before, believe it or not, even as I've had notoriety or fame or whatever you want to call it, someone
Mm-hmm.
knowing my name as an actress. When I decided to move into this other world of speaking and coaching, I have not been nearly as visible as even I can be. I started asking myself questions, and this is when the doubt comes in, the limiting beliefs. Well, are people going to believe that this actress can actually speak and teach? Or, I have all these fans, but will these fans actually come and take my products and buy my products and programs?
Yeah.
I know that I've been successful in this area. I remember I told you I had to borrow confidence from
Yeah.
there and start using it there. So I would say to anyone who's still playing small to borrow confidence from an area in which you are amazing, and to keep the fire stoked on that little fire and desire that you have, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't have a fire and desire.
Yeah.
And the other piece of it too is to really be clear about your why.
Oh, that's big. That is big right there. Yeah.
You got to get real clear, because your
Mm-hmm.
why will keep pushing you forward. If you're doing this
Mm.
to become famous, or you're doing this to make tons of money, all of those things can happen. Are you doing it so you can meet Jane Kennedy? Are you doing it or
Yeah.
are you doing it because you have something to say, a bigger mission, someone else that you want to influence, someone else you want to impact? And I really do, or whatever your why happens to be, you want to be the only one of your kind, the only one from your family who is fill in the blank. I think
Mm-hmm.
being really aware of your why, putting it on your vision board, putting it up on post-it notes. I have around my office right now, I've got, my value ladder of my customer here, and I've got the radiant life, because I have a community called the Radiant Community, and I have all of the
I
topics
love
that we're
that
going to talk about.
community.
So you surround a cute community, because it's Kim Unity.
I love
I'm very
it.
clear that I came here to create community in my
Mm.
special way. And so I would say to anyone who's doubting even for an instant, that just get clear on your why and let your why keep fueling you forward.
Move forward. Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what the R in the CAR is about radiating. It's about radiating your gifts, your divine gifts, your ideas, your mission, your possibilities out into the world. You have to
Mm.
open the door a little bit more. You have to step up. You have to have your bio, have all your materials put together, so that when people say, "Oh, I like to know more," so you're not scrambling to say, "Well, this is who I am." Have your demo tape available. Have your professional kit ready to rock and roll in case the opportunity comes and you're ready. I'm sure
Mm.
there are people listening to this who may have been in a room and there was a panel discussion, and one of the attendees didn't show up, one of the panelists didn't show up, and it's like, "Hey, Raven, are you ready?" "Yes, I am. Here
Yes,
I
I am.
go." Right? So be
Yeah.
ready to radiate, be ready
Yeah.
to shine
I
at
love
all.
that you said that. I really do because, I'm so glad you brought up that last scenario because a lot of times we want things, but we're not ready. Or when somebody says, "I need someone." In fact, you know what? That happened to me by accident at one of Lisa's events in Dallas. And I had walked in the room. I'm like, Lisa, she had a little breakout room, and they had other people on the main stage, and people were coming in, and I seen her. I said, Lisa, do you have anybody to introduce you? She said, No, I don't. You want to introduce me? And she gave me the mic, and I got a chance to. Yeah, and
You
then two
stepped
people.
up. How did
Huh?
you even know that she did? You didn't even know that she didn't have anybody to introduce her.
No, I just went over there because my dream back then was to introduce her on stage. I used to tell her all the time, I'm going to be your best student because I want to bring you on stage. And I seen her over there and she was talking to the guy with the mic and all the setup. And I didn't see anybody. I said, Lisa, who's going to introduce you? She said, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because Lisa's used to being on a big stage and she was like in a breakout room. I said, I'd be happy to introduce you. She gave me the mic so quick. And as soon as it was over, I ran across two people and they complimented me on it. And I happened to have my little recorder. I said, Oh, great. Do you mind giving me a testimonial? So I have two testimonials about it.
You better be, I'm gonna add another R. You better be ready to radiate. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is that you didn't go begging for it. You didn't
Mm-mm.
go, hey, please, please, please let me do. You were like, hey, I'd like to step in. And did she already know you at that time? Had she
Yeah,
already
she
seen
was
you?
just getting to know me. She was
Please.
just getting to know. In fact, she invited me to have lunch with them, and that's why I went to Dallas. And because we had just connected from the beginning, kind of like you and I. And I was always asking, do you need any help in the back room? Because I do believe, you know, I believe in priding myself not to be just a taker, but a giver. So if it's some way, I remember the first time I started interviewing the celebrities, and I like, okay, I know I would love for them to connect me with other ones, but I don't want to be that person that always asks. So what I would tell them at the end, I was like, wow, I really love your interview because it was just us, wasn't live. And I said, look, I want to be your media guy. You need a press release, you need a commercial, just have your team send it to me. It's my gift for saying thank you for this interview.
And you stay remembered and
Yeah.
you stay ready and you radiate. That's how you radiate. I
Mhm.
love too the other piece of it, which I hope people really caught, that you didn't ask everyone in the room, now, did I do a wonderful job? If I did, come meet me in the back and give me a testimonial. People were like, you were awesome. You're like, thank you. Do you mind? Hey, here's my recorder.
I just happen to have a record.
Of course you did. And they were happy to do it.
Yeah.
And, don't think for an instant that I wasn't, I really tuned in at the beginning of the show to hear, you had Ernie Hudson and who else was there introducing you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot who else now, but I was like,
Chili and Eva, let me see the
yeah, Eva
model.
Marcel.
Eva Marcel.
So
Yeah.
here's
Hmm.
somebody who has notables introducing her as well. And so it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you've created this trust in
Hmm.
the world, and others will do that too. Just don't be smarmy and don't be too grabby, and
Yeah.
be a giver.
And
And
yeah.
you remember the givers. You really do. She will always remember that you said, I'm happy to be at the back of the room. I'm happy to introduce you. And she says, come on and go to lunch. And who knows what else was forged that day and will continue to forge. And
Yeah. I
so
think one of the a lot of times people just want to take, and they don't realize it. And I know with my clients, and I want to talk about your program next. I usually tell my hosts and my different clients, you want to not just follow that person on their social media, but get in their newsletter and invest in a small product. If you can, invest in something, and in that way, and this is how I build on my relationships. I just, when I can invest in something, I'll invest in it, and then I'll tell them, I'll write them or do a video and talk about the success I had. Look, I tried this with Lisa. I tried everything. I invested in all her courses, and I would try it, and then I would send her an email, and I just kind of slowly dripped on her. And this way, all of a sudden, you're not just a follower, right, Kim? Now you're somebody that is consuming what they're teaching. You're
mhm.
sharing what you got from it. So it's not just about you buying the course, but actually doing what they said and sharing that success level. That's another way of captivating, I guess, in a way, huh?
captivating and activating. You did all, you drove the entire
I
car.
drove that car, leaning on the
You're
scene.
captivating, you're activating, and you radiated back to them what the
Hmm.
work meant to you. And people remember that.
Hmm.
I remember Shalene Johnson. Are you familiar with Shalene Johnson?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She said one time on a live stream, this is years ago, that to do exactly what you just said. Now, you don't do it to get in,
Hmm.
but these folks who are influencers or teachers or course builders, they do. And if you go through their work, and especially if there's any live component, you better believe I remember anyone live who came through my programs. You better believe it's like the first person who ever bought any program from me. um she Now we're friendly. She just texted me and said, hey, I've got a room of entrepreneurs I'd like you to speak to. So here it was. She came and bought my program. I served her well enough that she came, and she's a part of the Radiant community. And now she's like, would you like to come and speak to my group? And so opportunities come everywhere. And it's from not being grabby, from being
Yeah, and not being manipulative
right.
about it, right? I
Not at
mean,
all.
you're coming from your heart,
Right.
and you're respecting that person and knowing, okay, they put this program together. I tried this and it worked, or I tried this and I had a problem, but at least you're letting them know, yeah, I
Yeah.
did this, I did this, that worked, but I'm stuck here. But you can't be afraid to invest. And
Right.
speaking of invest, you have a program that I got into, which had why I reached out to you, because when I seen this, it was perfect timing for me. Let me just share this with the listeners. I turned 70 last year, and I started seeing myself kind of getting concerned, thinking about my age. A lot of people passing away, especially because of the pandemic. And the older you get, Kim, the more people you hear about passing away. I'm talking actors, singers, everyday people and stuff. And it starts to mess with your head, right? And we're stuck in the house. And I've been not going out to try to stay safe. And I've been jumping on virtual calls to try to dig from being in that depression hole that I felt myself sliding into. So when I looked at I think it was on your LinkedIn. I'm not sure if I seen it on LinkedIn or if I got it in my email, because I'm on your newsletter too. I said, this program is great, because I turned 71 this year and it was even getting worse. I started saying, should I broadcast anymore? What should I do? Should I just retire? All that stinking thinking, as Brian Tracy used to say, starts
Right.
popping in your head. And then, I said, I'm going to just have to retrain my brain and start really thinking about, okay, maybe there is more for me to do, that this isn't all, what do you call, the one all be all for me. There's something else through these next chapters. Stop thinking this is the end, because I was starting to think that, I
Right.
didn't want to go there. So when I
No.
seen what you had and you were laying out, I think your video kind of spoke about these days and these times, and you just drew me in. So a lot of times we can use your car acronym just in doing our introduction video and or writing our copy, just using that, because that's what drew me in. I just want to say
Nice. Okay, that worked. That worked.
that.
Yeah, I wrote that copy while working, while striving to be captivating, giving you some way to activate your dream.
Hmm.
And, um, my come from space is radiating joy and radiating
Hmm.
possibilities and holding space for every person that will sign up and every person who doesn't sign up to come to hear that message at least. And so
Yeah.
it's a 3-day live virtual event called Manifest Me Live,
Hmm.
manifestmelive.com. It's happening in September 9, 10, and 11. And last year I did it as a 2-week like boot camp challenge. And I decided to take it and like turned it into a 3-day massive event, experiential and interactive, because I don't want to just talk at you. I want to talk with you. We're going to have it on Zoom, but have breakout rooms and have sessions and teach you the principles of manifesting the life of your dreams. And this car reference is woven in through. I mean, it's part of what I love to teach about being the best version of yourself and deciding to just say, this is it, this is me. And in
Yeah.
fact, manifest me Live, the me actually stands for mirrored expression.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's always a little something, something, a little soft.
Acronym queen up in here, up in here.
So the me is to, you want to look in the mirror and see reflected back to you
Yeah.
the expression of the best version of your life. And
Mm.
no matter what age or stage you're in, I mean, you're just getting started, Raven, the talk show Maven. And there's too much life in you and too much wisdom in you to not share it with. I mean, we're calling you for. We need you more than ever. We need people who have a dream and a desire more than ever to take it to the next level. Listen, you've gotten where you are, and there's more.
Yeah.
I like to call it tear the roof off the sucker, like George
Tear the
Clinton
roof
used to
off.
say, tear the roof off the
They're
sucker.
gonna take me back in the club days now. Turn the roof off.
Tear the roof off the sucker. And so I believe that you can tear the roof off the sucker off your dreams. And so that's what Manifest Me Live is all about. And when I saw, I'm a coach and a marketer. I went and I've taken all the class, probably all the classes you've taken, because I knew all the names of the folks you were just mentioning. But I'm close to my business, even though I
Yeah.
have a team, and I get to hear a report of who's come through, and I was like, Raven Glover, what? This makes me so happy because you saw it. That means that I'm radiating something into the
Yes.
world. You
Yes.
activated
Yes.
on it, and so it's 3 days of activating your manifestation dream, stepping into your manifestation magistry. So as I'd like to say, and one of them is doing a new kind of vision board. I actually have a treasure map that I will give everyone, and we're going to build it
Oh,
together,
wow.
thinking about how you want to feel, feeling how you want to think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
just really get rid of the stinking thinking. We're going to bust open your limiting beliefs and just look at them in the face. And, you see, I had a coach years ago who used to say, Kim, there's no more monsters under the bed. What if there's no more monsters under the bed? What would you do? I get out there and just be excellent. Okay, let's go do that. And so I'm in this place of my life where I want to share my wisdom. I want to share my knowledge. I want to share what I've learned from other great coaches and take people on this journey. And I'm excited about it because, when we started talking, you said you see me everywhere doing everything. I figured out early on, and I'd like to give this as a bonus tip to everyone listening, that you don't do just one thing. You don't just be sounds like bad English. You don't just be a radio show host. You are an entrepreneur, and you have to be thinking
Yes.
outside of the box and all the other ways that you can influence. And so when I wasn't getting jobs, when I wasn't working, I was like, I got to figure something else, something else out, other than saying, "Would you like fries with that?" Because that's not the highest and best use of my talents. I would
Mm-hmm.
make people laugh, no doubt, but um, just using my voice. And so I started speaking and using comedy and using humor and using stories. And then that transitioned to coaching. And so I want everyone listening to be thinking of other ways you can use your gift and your gifting that builds upon itself. So yes, I can tell you I've got a new show coming out on Bounce called Finding Happy, late September. Yeah, I could tell you that. And that's done. It's in the can. It's already shot. What am I doing today? I'm creating opportunities for myself and for others. And I know that's what you do too. And everyone listening to this should be thinking about all the ways you can use all of your gifts.
Yeah. So they're gonna go to
Me live.
manifest me live.
I believe we have a coupon for them, don't we?
Yes. So they're going to put, when you go there, you're going to put in Raven. It doesn't have to be caps or anything like
It
that.
could be caps or lowercase Raven. Because we're friends, I wanted to give your friends that will get you 10% off the investment. And there's two choices there on the page. I'll let people go to the page and just read all the things that you get, and just know that I love to show up and delight. So it's 3 days with me. The VIPs actually get the recordings, and actually we have a limited time offer for 50 people. The first 50 people who sign up will actually get a whole other session with me before we begin, and I will send to your house a swag bag of items I think help align me better with my manifestation. I'm a fan of crystals and, sage and prayer and meditation. So it's just something for everything. I'm very much a person who, whatever, whoever the God is of your understanding, that I believe you, and I'm going to pray with you and be spiritual with you. And I believe you too. And so we're going to create a sacred space where we can really tap into the divine and go, what do you want me to do? All right, let's go do it.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be great. I know I got the VIP. I'm waiting for my
Yes, you
swag, honey, for
do.
sure. Listen, if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds great. Is this for me? Well, let me tell you, this is for you. If you want to get crystal clear on your big vision for life, Kim's going to help you that. If you're ready to banish limiting beliefs, get rid of that stinking thinking and stuff like I was having. And you want to look at your beliefs and thoughts and how you can get ahead with them. She's going to help you with that. If you want to restructure your thought pattern,
Yeah.
this is for you. You want to be with me and Kim and all the other smart and savvy business people, especially us women. This is for you if you're ready to establish and magnetize your affirmation, magnetizing affirmations. Yeah. Give us an affirmation, a magnetizing affirmation, real quick, Kim. What would that
So sometimes people will say, I want to be a millionaire 1,000 times. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. Now, what that tells your brain is that you're not a millionaire yet because you're saying, I want to be one. So it's good. But a more effective way to say is, I am a millionaire. I am
be?
prosperous. I am wealthy. The money that I earn helps so many other people. You speak it in the affirmative. You speak it in the now. Not I want
Mm,
to be, or one day I will be a millionaire. And your brain goes, well, that's one day, and
I
I don't know when that
am.
is.
Yeah,
I am.
I
And
am.
also, we're going to go through a whole affirmation workshop during this so that you find your affirmations and mantras that really resonate with you. I remember when I was first starting to do this kind of work, I was like, I can't say I'm a multimillionaire because I don't feel like a multimillionaire. So I started with saying, I'm a thousandaire. Oh, I can do that. I'm a
Yeah.
millionaire. Oh, I can, like, you get comfortable with something until you can grow into the thing that you really, really want to be. And you just get comfortable and get in alignment.
Mm.
Affirmations, I think, really work best. I feel work really best when you are in full alignment with them. And so we're going to work on that. So you leave the
Wow.
workshop
I
with
can't
a
wait.
workbook full of all kinds of goodness. And I'm super duper excited.
Yeah, so you run, don't walk, go to manifestmelive.com, right?
Yeah. So just think
Mm-hmm.
about manifesting me, the
Yes.
best version of me. Manifest me live.
Manifestingmelive.com.
Manifestmelive.com. And we're going
Yeah.
to build our roadmap. I have this, like I said, a really cool treasure map where you're going to fill in the blanks of what it is you say you want. We're going to, you know what I think, Raven? I think sometimes people don't dream very high. I'll be honest. I said I wanted to be Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball, but I didn't know how to activate that. I was just like, I want to be that thing that I see on TV. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
must have done enough of that that when I had the opportunity to step on stage and be funny and go, oh, this is it. Off I go, and off I there I was. Just like you had a spark that happened for you, that happened at 13, and at 55 it was activated. You're like, that's it. Let's go. Let's go. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying that now is the time to activate on all of your dreams. You take even baby steps. And that's the other thing that we're going to do that weekend is I think a lot of people they pray or they wish or they dream, but they don't know what first steps to take. We're going to together get in inspired action so that
Mm-hmm.
every day you're working towards your dreams and you're watching it unfold. You're watching, as I like to call, evidence. You're watching, you're going to celebrate the closeness of the match. You're going to celebrate with gratitude as it comes in, as it floats, and you go like, oh, wait a minute, that looks a lot like what I want. I'm there. I'm there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So that's what I'm going to do. Walk folks through it hand in hand and with love and in sacred space. Like I say, I like to create spaces where no one will laugh at you for having the biggest dream in the room. Please do, because it gives us permission to dream big too.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, and that, I'm glad you said that because we all have to give ourselves permission to succeed. I'm a big believer in that. You know what I'm saying, Kim? Sometimes we're waiting for other people to give us that permission. And we want to just remind you, go to manifestmelive.com and be sure to put Raven as your coupon so you can get your special discount that she set up. We appreciate you tuning in for this very, very special interview that we did with none other than actress, writer, comedian. Oh, she's all that, bag of chips and some M&Ms on the side, and you better know it. I'm talking about none other than Kim Coles. I'm proud to just say she's my friend. I love her. Jump in this class. Be a VIPer like me. I like VIP. Yes, because you always want that little extra that they're going to give for her to come on and you meet with you 30 minutes before everybody else. Wonder what insider secrets we're going to learn in 30 minutes. That's why I love being a VIP. Yep.
30
Any
minutes
final
before,
thing you want
an
to
hour.
say?
I'm sorry, I was going to say 30 minutes before, an hour later, and the first 50 people get a whole day with me, a whole separate
Wow.
session before we even begin. Listen, I'm planning to show up and blow.
Oh,
Thank you for having me on your show, Raven. I want everyone listening to just really drive that car all the way to success. I'm going to be in the car next to you. How about that?
all right.